सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः। ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। Let us read the verse number 5 on the page number 9. Can you raise the volume a little bit? Devi sampad vimokshaya nibandhaya surimata māshuca sampadam devīm abhijātosi pandava. So Lord Krishna says that there are two kinds of people. Do bhuta sargo loke deva asura. There are people who can be categorized as deva, meaning possessing the divine traits, asura, and there are others who fall in the category of asura, or possessing the demoniac traits. Sura means devata, asura means opposite of devata, this is a demon. So sometimes the asura is also explained as asu and ra, asushu ramante iti asuraha. Asu means the breath, which means the sense organ, which means the sense organs of perception. So those people who are reveling only in the sense pleasures, they are called asura. That's another explanation. So there are a few people in the world who possess divine traits, who have a value for freedom, for happiness, for self-growth, for liberation. And most of the people, on the other hand, have the predominance of rajas and tamas. There are some sattvic people who display these divine traits such as non-violence, truthfulness, described here. And there are majority of people who, however, have the predominance of rajas and tamas. When there is predominant rajas, then there is a craving for sense gratification, a craving for gratification, craving for sense gratification, craving for ego gratification. This is the result of rajas. And tamas is there, then there may be cruelty. Not only there is inactivity, but sometimes cruelty. So these are the kind of people we find. Or rather than bothering about how other people are, we find within our own selves also this tendency which can be called divine. As we say that each one of us find ourselves to be a kind, compassionate, loving person on many occasions. We also find ourselves sometimes angry, cruel, harsh, that also we find. And therefore, to identify these demoniac tendencies, nibandhaya, because this anger and greed which will be described, all of these only are conducive to bondage, which means conducive to helplessness or sorrow and suffering. Thus Vedanta teaches that what creates sorrow or suffering are only all these demoniac or negative traits. And what creates happiness are these divine or positive traits. So what causes unhappiness? Bondage. This is the demoniac traits. And they deprive us of the very benefits of possessing a human embodiment. Whereas human embodiment has the potential of leading me up to the highest goal of being perfect or limitless, which is the potential I have because that is the nature of Atma, that's the nature of self. And what comes in the way of deriving benefit from the true nature of myself are these, what are called here, the asuri sampat, or the demoniac tendencies arising from rajas and tamas. So in the following verses, Lord Krishna dramatizes these demoniac tendencies, describes the people who possess these tendencies. How do they think and how do they react? So this is how the demoniac tendencies are described here by describing demoniac people possessing those tendencies. And whenever we find in ourselves this kind of tendency, then we know that this is something damaging to us. And we should have a value, alertness, and an effort to neutralize and overcome these tendencies. So now let us proceed with the next verse, verse number 6 on the page 9. Pravrittim cha nivrittim cha janana vidurasura न शौचम नापि चाचारः न सत्यम तेषु विद्यते. This is a description of people possessing predominance of tamoguna or tamas, which prevents them from seeing the reality and which creates a distortion in their perception. What is right appears to be wrong, what is wrong appears to be right. So what kind of a view of life they possess? What is the perception of life? What is the perception of this universe? First is pravrittim cha nivrittam cha na viduhu. Pravritti, what is fit to be done here. Nivritti, what is not fit to be done. Pravritti, what I should be doing. Nivritti, what I should not be doing. And the guidelines of what I should do and what I should not do are given by the scriptures in terms of vidhi and nisheda, do's and don'ts. So scriptures such as Vedas and other texts which are based on Vedas such as this Shruti Purana, Shruti, Smriti, Purana. Shruti means Vedas, Smriti means the law books and other books which are written by the sages. Puranas are also which are based on the Vedas. So there is abundant literature. And this teaching is like daylight, available to everybody, passed on from the elders to the youngers, next generation. Passed on also by the teachers to the disciples and to the masses. In spite of this being available, they simply cannot have any trust in this. They cannot have faith in that. Their mind revolts against this. They resist or revolt to anything that is righteous, anything that is good. And therefore, they make all wrong decisions. What is right in the situation is what we should do. Instead of that, they do what is convenient or what is wrong. Pravritti, kartavyam, what should be done? Meaning what you should engage into. Nivritti, what you should withdraw from. So that is beneficial to him. When the scriptures prescribe what we should do, it is for our own well-being. And when they prohibit in terms of what we should not do, it is only to help us prevent our own damage. Because human being has the freedom of choice. And therefore, in every situation, we have to make a choice. As far as other Gitas are concerned, all of them are programmed and therefore they automatically or habitually make right choices. And therefore they never violate the order of the universe. Whereas, it is possible for human being to violate the order. Number one, because he has the freedom of choice. And number two, he has the freedom to violate the freedom, to abuse the freedom. So whenever we are controlled by impulses such as greed, such as anger, such as lust, jealousy, what are called here the demoniac tendencies or negative or impulses, we invariably do something which is hurtful to others and ultimately to ourselves also. Meaning that by making wrong choices, we can harm others and harm ourselves, we can create harm in the universe also. And therefore, it is necessary that we should have the guidelines. What to do, what not to do. We call it GPS. It's the Gita positioning system. Or the Guru positioning system. Who teaches what is right. And what is right is what is conducive to achievement of what I desire. what is desirable to me, whatever it is, that is a means of attaining what is desirable to me is right. And what is opposite in terms of what in fact violates what is desirable is wrong for me. But Swami, I know what is desirable to me. That is where the problem is. When we do not have the proper understanding, priorities are wrong, then very often what is in fact damaging to us appears to be desirable to us, and what is helpful to us appears to be undesirable. That's called the distorted mind. The mind can be distorted because of the influence of rajas and tamas. So pravrittim cha nivrittim cha, on account of this state of mind, they are not able to determine what is good for them, what is for their well-being. But Swami, what is for my well-being? Well, what is for my well-being is that which leads to happiness, that leads to harmony, that leads to inner peace, that leads to inner freedom. That is what I am seeking. But these people think that attaining wealth and money and power and fame, they are the means of happiness. So that definition of success itself is different. Whereas the definition of success we said yesterday is happiness, is key to success, not the other way around. But they think that success in terms of the material achievement is a success. And for that they do not mind sacrificing these moral values. So what is morally right and what is morally wrong, they do not know. They do not respect it. Now, Shaucham, as a result, all kinds of impurities or impure thoughts automatically gain an entry into their mind. Because when I am violating the law, violating the values, then anger and greed and all negativity are slowly going to take entry into my mind, making my mind impure. Now, Shaucham, they do not have the purity of mind, purity of thought, purity of intention. Na achara, do not have any good conduct, no sadachara. There is no good conduct in their life. Na satyam teshu vidyate, and there is no truthfulness or honesty in their life. So this is what the demoniac tendencies or the predominance of rajas and tamas does do to the people. Na satyam teshu vidyate, there is no truthfulness in them, there is no honesty in them. Meaning that they don't have any value for satyam. They have no value for honesty. For them the end is important, the means is not important at all. By means we mean the value, right values and attitude of the means. Whatever be the end. Dharma, artha, kama are also supposed to be ends. But artha means the name and fame and power and wealth can be called artha. Kama is the sense gratification, ego gratification. The gratification is kama, which are permitted as long as they are based on dharma or on the right values. So long they can become perhaps a blessing to us, otherwise they themselves become curse to us. Remember, as far as this is concerned, for them they have no value for dharma. Only artha and kama, they are valuable. Comfort and pleasure, that's all is their goal. And by hook or crook, by any means they will acquire them, and thus in the process keep on compromising dharma or the righteousness. For them, the end justifies the means. Na satyam teshu vidyate. And that truthfulness and honesty are not convenient at all. Because if you follow truthfulness, if you follow honesty, then you will let go a lot of things which otherwise are convenient to get. And so you can't take any shortcuts. You have to follow the way. In that case, it's not convenient to them. It's too demanding. Who is going to tell the truth? Why should I be honest? Why am I it's easy to take the wrong path to achieve the material goal? So, this is the typical description of the, what we call the asuras or the demons. And what is their belief system? What do they think about the reality of the world? What is their view about the world? So, next verse tells us that on the next page. Asatyamapratishtante Jagadahuranishwaram Aparasparasambutam Kimanyat kama haitukam. Jagat Ahuhu. Jagat means this world of the universe. What is their view of how the universe is, how the world is? Ahuhu, this is what they say. Asatyam, there is no truthfulness anywhere. There is no truthfulness in them. The earlier verse told us that there is no truth in them. Nasatyam teshu vidyate. In these demoniac people, there is no honesty and truthfulness. And generally, very often we perceive the thing also according to our own classes, in our own way. And therefore, these people think that there is no truth anywhere. Just as there is no truth or honesty in me, similarly also, and there is nobody, Swamiji, there is no honesty anywhere. There is no truthful anywhere. Asatyam. Alright, then what about dharma? What about righteousness? There is no dharma. There is no righteousness. There is no moral order at all in this universe. What is called dharma or righteousness is a moral order. Only when we accept a moral order in the universe, there is something called an order which in fact governs the whole universe. Not only is there a mechanical order which the physicists will explain to us, but we talk of the moral order. See, morality not only takes into account the physical world, but also takes into account the emotional world, the intellectual world, the moral world. There is something called right and wrong. What is morality? We said earlier, I should not do unto others what I do not want them to do to me. I do not want them to cheat me, therefore I should not cheat them. I don't want to be hurt, I should not hurt them. This is the basis of moral values. They don't accept it. As apratishtam, there is no dharma, no morality, no moral order at all. And therefore they do not feel in any way obliged to follow dharma or morality. When you don't believe in that, you will Anishwaram. They don't even accept there is somebody called Ishvara or God. There is a law of karma, there is a law of morality, law of cause and effect, that as you sow, so you reap. They don't believe in that. They say that Yavat jivet sukham jivet runam krutva ghutam pivet. The saying about them, Yavat jivet sukham jivet. As long as you live happily. What is that happiness? Is nothing but sense gratification. Enjoy yourself. But then where do you get the resources? Runam krutva kritam pivet. If necessary, you can borrow. You can incur debt, but kritam pivet, drink ghee, meaning enjoy yourself. Enjoy the pleasures. But then you are incurring sin. You are answerable for the action that you are performing. What will happen to you after the death? And then you will go on. What kind of embodiment you will get next time? So what embodiment? What hell? What heaven? Basmi bhutasya dehasya punaragamanam kutah. Once his body is burned, is cremated, who is coming? Have you seen anybody coming back? Where is Atma? This is Atma. And when you cremate it, that is gone, Bhasmi Bhuta. Who comes back? So, all there is only this lifespan. And therefore, make merry. That's all it is. This is their motto. And so, when only sense gratification alone becomes the goal of life, then dharma or the righteousness will ultimately lose its value. Asatyam apratishtamte jagadahu anishwaram. And a person who accepts Ishvara, who person accepts law of karma. But law of karma is nothing but law of cause and effect. As you sow, so you reap. Then if you accept the fact that I am accountable for what I do, and that whenever I do something good, that I am the beneficiary of that, and whenever I violate the laws, then I am the one who suffers, who will have to suffer. When we accept that, then that we will be doing something which is good, because I know that doing something bad is going to be hurtful to me. So it is the acceptance of law of karma, law of cause and effect, law of morality, which keeps you on the right path, even out of fear, if nothing else. But when you do not accept any morality, don't accept law, what God you are talking about? Who has seen God? But if you may perform sinful action, then you have to pay the... What sinful action? What consequences? I don't believe in that. I do not believe in karma phala, that karma or action gives us to results, and that there is somebody. But don't you realize that there is an Ishvara who is watching everything, and he is the one that will dispense of the results of your action. If you do good, then there is happiness. Do evil, then there is unhappiness. Don't you realize that I don't believe in God? There is no order. There is no dispenser of karma phala. There is no karma phala data, meaning that there is no giver of results of action. There is no order at all. Therefore, you do what you want to do. This is their law of life. So, apratishtam jagadahu anishwaram. They say there is no Ishvara. By Ishvara, what is meant here is karma phala data. Data means giver. Karma phala, the result of the action. That there is a giver of the result of action. We should accept that. That whatever actions you perform are watched by somebody, that there is a witness, or there is someone, or some entity, or some intelligence that takes note of everything that we do. So that is our belief system, that there is a witness of all my thoughts, all my intentions. And therefore, I am accountable for not what I do physically, at the same time what intentions I am entertaining. All of these also contribute to the outcome. So even though outwardly I may be smiling, inwardly if I have evil intention, I will have to bear the consequences. That's what we believe. Those who believe in morality, those who believe in moral order, those who believe in the law of cause and effect, law of karma. Then you are a God-fearing person. At least you take in the order into account, knowing fully well that when you violate the order, you are going to be punished. But when you don't accept the order, you don't accept any law, then you have the license to do what you want to do. And there is no fear at all. That does not mean that they will escape the law of karma, but as far as they are concerned, that they are not in their agenda. It's not in the radar, they say, It's not in my radar. The dharma business is not in my radar. There is no dharma, adharma for them, nothing righteous. What is convenient is right, that's all for them. There is no God who is watching over me. I don't accept a God who watches over me. They say, I don't accept a God who interferes with my life. But when we say God, we talk about order. The whole universe is in fact interconnected. There is interconnection, there is interdependence, there is nothing that is isolated, and we are all bound by a certain thread, which is what we call the order. It is not just a mechanical order, it is a moral order, and more than that, it is order of consciousness also that binds us all. Lord Krishna says that Mai sarvidam protam sutre maniganaiva. Just as these beads or the pearls are strung in a thread, so also the whole universe is strung into me. I am the very order, the very self of the whole universe that informs everything, that pervades everything, that is responsible for the harmony and the order in the universe. They do not take anything like that into account. Then who has created this universe? So those who believing in Ishvara say that Ishvara created the universe in giving me the karma of dharma and adharma. But you don't accept dharma adharma. Don't accept Ishvara. Don't accept the creator. Who has created? It's very evident. Second line says, aparaspara sambhutam. This whole creation is a product of merely union of male and female. Ki manyat kama hetu kam. What is hetu? What is the cause of creation of the universe? Kama or passion is the motive force which creates everything. So who is the creator? Kama. Passion is lust is a creator. All this will sound very familiar, In fact, most of the universe is like this. No scientist will accept God. They will never accept consciousness. Morality, it can't be proven. So if you are a true scientist, you can't accept anything other than simple physical forces. That's all you can accept. There is no other than body is a self. What science you are talking? What Atma are you talking about? What consciousness are you talking about? Consciousness is a product of matter. And so some chemical reaction take place in the brain and consciousness is created, and when the body goes, that also goes away. This is the belief. For these people, there is no creator. Evolution is okay. What is evolution? Is that it is svabhavavada, meaning that the universe the creation just takes place. There is no creator. It is just there's this choice, that's all. By this choice, everything has happened. It's also a view of the life. But these people who do not accept any consciousness, do not accept any Atma, do not accept any God, can also accept morality, hopefully, and at least they will have good conduct in their life. But those who are totally given to nothing but sense pleasure or sense gratification, for them that's the only goal. That kama, kimanyat kama hetukam. This universe is a product of kama or the passion and is meant for fulfilling kama, that's all. So universe is a product of kama, meaning the union of the male and female, and it is meant for fulfilling kama, that's all. So for them, kama or passion or the desire is a driving force. That is the force which has created the universe, and the universe, your life is meant for fulfilling your desires. Eat, drink and make merry. That's all is the purpose of life. So what happens? Read the next verse. Kamamashritya dushpuram dambhamanamadhanvitaha mohat grihitva sadgrahan pravartante shuchivrataha. So kamam ashritya, as you said, the primary force or motivation in their life is kamam, fulfilling the desire for sense gratification or gratification, fulfilling desire for gratification. Either sense gratification or ego gratification. And this volume is too low. You can't raise it. Because they keep on shouting and screaming, You can hear me well, I can't hear myself well, that's the problem. The public address system is meant to let the speaker also hear himself. Because the only way I know that you hear me is when I hear myself. When the sound does not come back to me, it seems that it doesn't come to you. It's a psychological thing that you will know only when you're speaking through this system. And well, now anyway, it's better now, but
Can you hear now?
I can hear. So primary requirement of any public address system is what we call monitor or a feedback system, so that your voice comes back to the speaker. When you go to any kind of public programs, you find huge speakers in front of those singers or anybody. They actually feed sound back, and they only hear that, and from that they monitor, they ask them. Anyway, that is just for your information. So, kamam ashritya dushpuram. As we said, only thing that they know is the kamam, the strong desire for gratification. The gratification of senses, gratification of ego, this is what is the driving force for them. Unfortunately, here Lord Krishna, dushpuram, insatiable. This kama or the craving. The word kama can be translated not just as a desire, but craving, longing, craving, strong desire. If desire is within a certain boundary, then we may be able to even diffuse it. If a desire arises in the mind, we are not necessarily obliged to fulfill that desire. Any thinking person will question or will want to subject that desire to the scrutiny of thinking, that what do I seek to accomplish by fulfilling the desire? This Vedantin should ask this question. Is there a desire that can be fulfilled at all? There are two things in our life. One is something that is already accomplished, and other is what is not accomplished. So desires at the level of the physical body, etc., for appeasing hunger, thirst, and protecting body and sustaining the body are something that you have acquired. So they are the needs based on what we call the body-mind-sense complex. Body, they need to be fulfilled. I also happen to be a part of a certain system called the family or society, and I also have responsibilities and accountability. I am required to fulfill those responsibilities also, meaning that I do need resources to fulfill these basic needs. And therefore, performing entertaining desires and performing actions to fulfill these basic needs is quite in order. When it comes to desire for happiness, in what category does the desire for happiness fall? Understand that happiness is not something to be accomplished. We've been discussing that. Happiness is something to be discovered, to be manifest, and not something to be created, because happiness happens to be my own nature. And therefore, happiness is something we can never acquire. What do you mean, Swami? I enjoy. I feel happy. When I have something that I like, when my desire is fulfilled, I'm happy. When I get something that is enjoyable, I'm happy. How do you say there is no happiness? It's only a delusion to believe that that thing has given you happiness. In fact, you are enjoying happiness with your own self. What that thing did is to bring your mind to yourself momentarily, and then you came face to face with yourself, and thus you were able to feel happy, which happiness was nothing but the source was your own self. Like the sun is shining and is covered by the clouds. When the clouds move away, then you have a glimpse of the sun for a moment. And so also the sun of happiness, which is yourself, is always shining. This cloud of desire, in fact, covers it. So when a desire is fulfilled, momentarily desire is satiated, and so there is a glimpse of that happiness, and you think that the object of desire has given that. In fact, it is our own self that gives happiness. And therefore, this is all we have been talking about since last 3 days, how happiness is to be discovered from ourselves by removing the obstacles of impurities, by cultivating these divine qualities. As the mind becomes sattvic, it only reflects the happiness more and more. So desire for happiness can never be satisfied. It may look like a given desire is satisfied. I wanted a given thing which I got. But understand that desire always remains. A desire comes and goes, a desire may get satisfied, but desirer, he always appears again and again. Who is a desirer? Who is the one desiring? A person who feels a sense of lack or want within himself or herself. Desire is an expression of lack or want. And a given desire is satisfied, but the basic lack or want is not gone, so it gives us another desire. Momentarily the lack of want goes and again it comes back. Therefore, desire for gratification can never be satisfied. I cannot say no desire is satisfied, but desire for gratification cannot be satisfied because nothing can give me gratification. Things can create an appearance of gratification which comes and goes away, and I find myself craving again. Kamam ashritya dushpuram. Therefore the kama or this craving for gratification. So the desire can be a genuine desire for fulfilling the basic needs of my life or for my body. We do not, that is okay. But then the desire for happiness is not a legitimate desire because nothing else can give me happiness. So one desire that cannot be satisfied is the desire for happiness, and which is what everybody wants. These people have already concluded that happiness is out there in the objects and achievements, in accomplishments. And they appear to give him a momentary gratification, but then another desire comes, and the Atma, self, again becomes hidden. That desire gets fulfilled. There is a little clearance. You get a glimpse of happiness. Again, yet desire comes. The clouds of desire keep on coming. And thus, they keep on veiling the self. When a desire is fulfilled, momentarily, the cloud is removed. There is a glimpse of self, which is what we call happiness. Another cloud comes, the desire. So those people whose only pursuit is fulfilling desires, those who believe that happiness is only in fulfilling desires, and therefore keep on fulfilling desires as they arise in the mind. Dushpuram. Vedanta, Bhagavad Gita compares desires for gratification with fire, and fulfilling desire is like pouring butter into the fire, and therefore the desire for gratification becomes more and more intense. In fact, the craving grows stronger and stronger. Now we don't look outside into the outside world. All of these can be verified with our own experiences. What is stated in this can all be verified by myself. As to what is my level of satisfaction. What was my level of satisfaction with myself 10 years ago, 5 years ago, today? Now I am a much wealthier person with many more resources and a lot of success I have attained in my life. But as far as the sense of self-satisfaction is concerned, where am I? So we keep on always, every year, we have a balance sheet, which is right thing, a good thing to do, but we have another kind of balance sheet, and that should be in terms of self-satisfaction. What was my level of self-satisfaction 25 years ago, when I had so little thing, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and today? As the Swami used to always quote, what is called progress is converting luxuries into necessities. And thus, what is luxury is something you may have, need not have. Necessity you must have. So luxuries are converted necessities. And necessity means dependence. So this is what is happening in my life. I have observed that. Am I more independent than before? Have my needs grown up or have they reduced? Am I more needy now than before or less needy? This kind of balance sheet also is required to be done in life. We will find out that in spite of fulfilling hundreds and thousands of desires, I still remain desirer. In fact, if anything else, the craving has become stronger than before. Thus, we have to get lessons from our own self. Kamam ashit dashpuram. So those people who think that the only purpose of life is to fulfill desire, and that is where the success and gratification is, dushpuram. That kama or that craving can never be satisfied. It becomes stronger and stronger as you try to satisfy that. Dambamana madanvitaha. People find that when I entertain or when I respect this kama, then kama is the source of all other evil. You must have heard this sequence here. Kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsarya. Kama is this craving. When that craving is not satisfied, turns into krodha or anger. If craving is satisfied, turns into lobha, stronger craving. And anger and greed, both of them make me, mada means create in me a kama, krodha, lobha, moha. Creates a delusion in me, meaning that distorts my perception. Mada creates pride in me. Matsarya creates jealousies in me. So this kama is the source of all other evils. So says dambha mana madanvitaha. You find dambha, the pretentiousness, mana, pride, mada, arrogance. So all of these ultimately, this is what? So filled with pretension, vanity, arrogance. So I find that in fact, as I entertain more and more kama, he brings all these friends with him, and thus I find myself more and more pretending, more and more dishonest, more and more arrogant. Moha gvitva asadgrahan. Having selected wrong goals in life, asad, which is false or wrong. So, not realizing what the real goal is, not realizing where the true happiness is, there is this wrong perception that happiness is out there in the material accomplishments. So, having accepted that as a goal, then I'm going to compromise my values more and more. Pravartante asuchivrataha, my mind becomes more and more impure. My resolves become more and more impure. If you allow ourselves, if you don't learn from this, and we find many people of this nature, that ashuchi means impurity, then my resolves become more and more impure, more and more violent, more and more destructive. Because when I find that I cannot fulfill my desire by fair means, I have to resort to foul means, because the desire dominates me, controls me. And there is a point up to which I can fulfill my desire by fair means, but then if the desire is not satiated, which it cannot be, ultimately I am forced to adopt foul means. So Lord Krishna describes the mental situation of the demoniac people whose philosophy is eat, drink and make merry, meaning fulfill your desire, who see the success in life only in fulfilling desires. What are they thinking in their mind? So the next verse tells us. So what is there? What kind of thought flow goes on in their mind? What kind of planning and contemplation is going in their mind? The next verse tells us that. Idam adyamaya labdham imam prapse manoratham idam api me bhavishyati punardhanam. So this is all the time. This is their balance sheet, This is what occupies their mind all along. Idam adya maya labdham. Idam adya, today I have gained this. Imam prapse manoratham, and I will now further gain the other thing which is desirable to me. I have gained so much, like children, as we were children, playing with marbles. So whole day we play with the marbles, and the marbles are all filled in a big tin. And at night I will feel, today have I gained some marbles or lost the marbles? So counting the marbles at night, how many marbles I won or how many I lost. So whole day my mind always around these marbles. I play with that fellow, how many did I gain, how many did I lose? So my mind all the time centered around the marbles. This fellow's mind also is centered around nothing but the wealth and name and fame, because this is their life. Idam adhyamaya labdham. This wealth I have gained, this fame I have gained, this power I have gained. But then imam prapse manoratham, this more I will gain, because what I have gained can never satisfy me. As long as I am seeking satisfaction from these material things, I can never get what we call a sustained satisfaction. I may have a momentary gratification from them, and then I am left again craving further. And ever, even though I have acquired this much, my mind keeps on thinking, this much more I will get, this much more when I will get, I'll do this, and I'll get raised in this power structure, more fame I will get. So imam prapse manoratham, this desirable thing I will get. Idam asti idam api me, this much I have right now, bhavishyati punardhanam, and then this further wealth will come to me. So you can see how the mind is totally engrossed or consumed merely by the thoughts of the material things. Whether it is money or wealth or fame or power, that's all that occupies the mind of this person. What I have and the plan for what next one. So Monday morning in my office, first thing is, what am I going to do this Friday evening? Once this week is over, Friday evening, what will I do? Weekend, which trip I'm going to make? And during the year also I plan, where am I going for vacation? So this is all the time, this is what it occupies the mind. Where this year it is Hawaii, next year it will be Bali, third year it will be Alaska, fourth year something else. And that's nothing wrong in travel, nothing wrong in this, but thinking that this is what is the source of my pleasure or happiness, that thinking that these things give me happiness is incorrect. I find a craving for more and different, because then mind wants different varieties. It can't be satisfied. You want every day dosa, every day pizza, every day this, then I want different things. So mind wants variety. Mind wants more and more of the same thing, because the law of diminishing return. A given thing gives me some pleasure today, tomorrow the quantum of pleasure it gives me becomes less. So I need more for the same quantum of pleasure because of diminishing return. So I want more, I need more and more. And therefore my mind is preoccupied. I have this much, now I should do, I'll get that much. This much I have cornered, now this much I will further corner. As a result, what kind of tendencies or what kind of impulses they occupy or they take hold of their mind, the next verse tells us that. Ahankaram balam darpam kamam krodham cha samshrita Mamatma paradeheshu Tadvishanto Vyasuyaka. Understand that world is not easy place. He is not the only fellow who wants this. There are many others also. He has to compete. So people have to compete for limited resources. And you cannot always be successful in fulfilling your desire. You find that somebody has got away with it. So this is going to be a jungle law. When all that I want in my life is more and more, then I have to fight all the time with other people who also want similarly, and therefore this is nothing but a grabbing game. And when I cannot grab this way, I'll find some other way of grabbing. All the time planning and scheming as to how to grab more and more, because what I have is not enough, unfortunately. This mind does not permit this person to enjoy what he or she has. Always looking for what I don't have. Imam prapse, this desire I will fulfill, that thing I will attain. And so, because of this whole kind of preoccupation with nothing but just material things, the mind also, these are all inert or jada, they are all jada, inert things. And all the time thinking of inert things, my mind also becomes inert. Ahankaram, balam, darpam, kamam, krodam, samshritaha. To live my life and accomplish my goal, now I have to resort to these things. Ahankaram, ego. Darpam, pride. Swamiji, in this world you have to sell yourself. You have to assert yourself. You have to grab things. Don't think that you will get success just like that. So, ego. Because only satisfaction he gets is when the ego is satisfied. All the time seeking ego gratification. Ahankar, balam. As a result, raga, dvesha, or like attachment, aversions are natural. When ahankara, for egoistic person, anybody who I feel is favorable to my ego becomes an object of like. And anybody who I think threatens my desire or ego becomes an object of dislike. So stronger the ego I have, stronger the attachment and aversion or likes and dislikes I'm going to have. And then when these likes and dislikes, kama, krodha, create impulses and create a force within myself, so balam, there is this strength coming from these negative forces. Anger also gives you strength. Lust also gives you strength. Greed also gives you power. So balam means power. Power coming from this negative. Ravana also had power and Rama also had power, understand? The power of Lord Rama came from Sattva. Power of Lord Ravana came from Rajas and Tamas. And that is destructive power. So this balam, the power that these people have, is not for protecting others, not for helping others. It is only for dominating others, exploiting others, and where necessary, hurting others in order to fulfill my ego and my desire. Ahankaram, balam. All of you, I'm sure, must be exposed to all of these, whether it is corporate, any kind of outside world. Swami, you go to hospitals and look at these doctors. You go inside and then you find out people are so successful. They have such good name. But if you go into their mindset, always fighting with each other, trying to pull down each other, jealousy of each other, playing games, pulling legs of each other, these games go on everywhere. Whether it is engineering, whether it is medicine, whether it is management, whether it is a corporate, whether it is politics, wherever it is. Because the only goal is fulfillment of my desire, gratification of my ego. This is called success. And naturally, because other people also want the very same thing, how to compete with them. And if I cannot compete by fair means, then I adopt foul means also. So all kinds of politics goes on. all kinds of, the scheming and planning goes on. And those fellows who are cleverer, they get away, and other fellows are left behind. This is how the world is. This is nothing but jungle, We call it human beings, but this is the law of jungle that prevails there. If you are satisfied with a certain thing, but once you go up, and you want to try to go up, then you meet with all kinds of resistance. Ahankaram, balam, dharpam. You have to be arrogant, you have to be assertive, you have to dominate other people. Kamam, krodam cha samshritaha, the kramam, craving, krodha, anger, this will be seen, very evident. And because of that, these people are violent people. Now, violence may not be hurting at the physical level, but violating rights of other people, trampling the rights of other people, trampling over the rights and requirements of other people, hurting other people, hurting their interests, hurting their sentiments, hurting their rights and requirements. Māma atmapardeshu pradvishanta abhyasuyakaha. So Lord Krishna says, abhyasuyakaha, the slanderers, pradvishantaha, mam, Lord Krishna says, hate me. They hate God. The God is not there in the radar anyway. But basically, when Lord Krishna says, hate me, Lord Krishna says, I am the self of all. I in fact dwell in the hearts of all living beings as a self. Even for this fellow also who is arrogant and who is hurtful, even in his heart also same Lord dwells. Ishvara is the self of all the beings, good, bad or indifferent. Just as gold is the self of all the ornaments, whether the ornaments are shapely or not shapely. Water is the self of all the waves, whether the waves are small, big or whatever they are. Similarly also, Ishvara, Lord, is the self of all. He is myself, yourself, everybody's self. That is the reason why we are told that you should treat others as you treat yourself, because what the other one is what you are. And then ultimately by hurting others, you are hurting yourself. By helping others, you are helping yourself, because same self dwells in all of them. But when I am given to anger and lust and greed and aggressiveness and violating the rights of others, then I hurt other people. I dislike them, I hate them, not realizing that in that process I am hating the self. Mam atmaparadeshu, Lord Pradvishanta, Lord Krishna says that they are slandering me, they are hating me, who is their own self as well as the self of all. So ultimately, whenever we hurt somebody, we are hurting Ishvara because he is the self of all. Having described in detail all of this, then a question arises. We did not do all the verses, we did some of the verses. When we hear this, we get nervous. Some people tell you, Swami, this is like he is describing me. Sometimes when we hear this, is he talking about me, or we feel very, very guilty. So what is going to happen to me? How can I take care of so many ahankaram, balam, dharpam, kamam, krodam? So how can I deal with so many things? Meaning that demoniac tendencies are so many. How am I going to ever overcome them? So Lord Krishna reduces or summarizing all the tendencies into three. See, if you deal with three, then you dealt with all. Because the rest of the demoniac tendencies are nothing but the variations of this three. So next verse on the page 12, in that Lord Krishna summarizes all the demoniac tendencies into three. Trividham narakasyedam dvaram nasanamatmanah kamah krodhastatha lobha tasmade tatrayam tyaje. So Lord simplifies here. For us to now to create a strategy for our own self, what it is that we have to do with ourselves. Understand that all this description is not meant for judging other people. Swami, I know what you're talking about, and this is here, that is there. So some people think that other people are like that, or some people think that they are like that. So either we judge others listening to this description or judge ourselves. It is not meant for judging others, nor is it meant for judging ourselves. Understand that all of these tendencies are in the mind, and I am not the mind. Mind is not the Atma, I am the witness of the mind. Understand that because I am aware of these things, is not so. When anger arises in mind, am I not aware of anger? If there is jealousy in mind, am I aware of jealousy or not? I know these thoughts. I know when these thoughts arise in my mind. Unfortunately, by habit we identify with them and judge ourselves. So when there is anger in my mind, I say, I am angry. When there is jealousy in my mind, I say, I am jealous. When there is greed in my mind, I say, I am greedy. Now we are actually doing, so we are connecting the two which are different things. This is called identification. Identifying with something which I am not. And this happens to us very often, like while watching the movie, we become so absorbed in watching the movie that we try to sympathize with the character in the movie and become one with that also, and then feel the same way that fellow is feeling. If he is crying, I also start crying. He is crying because his wife has left. This fellow's wife is sitting right beside him and he is still crying. We forget, in identification, we forget what we are and we become somebody else. Similarly also, our mind is like really a movie. And the various thoughts arising in the mind are the various scenes in the movie. The fact that we are aware of our thoughts shows that we are different from the thoughts. The simple rule is that the knower is always different from what is known. For example, here is a flower. I am the one who perceives the flower. I am the perceiver of the flower, knower of the flower. Then I, the knower, is different from the flower. As a rule. Because I cannot objectify myself. Whatever I objectify, whatever I know, I am different from that. This subject-object duality. Subject is different from the object. Simple rule. So just as I am aware of the flower and then I know that I am different from the flower. So if the flower withers away, I don't wither away. I know that I am not the tree falls and I don't fall down. I know I am not the ceiling is leaking, I am not leaking. I know this. Somehow when it comes to body, this viveka or discrimination seems to be lost. Body is equally an object of my awareness. I know my hands and legs and all of this as clearly as and more clearly than I know this flower. Is it not so? Am I not aware of my thoughts? When a good thought arises, am I not aware that a good thought has arisen? Or evil thought arisen? I am aware of the thoughts. I am knower of the thoughts. And though I am different from the thoughts. In spite of that being the case, habitually we keep on identifying with the thoughts and we judge ourselves based on our thoughts. That is first thing we should try not to do. Meaning that even if we find some of these demoniac tendencies in us, or understand that they belong to mind. I am not the mind. I am the knower of the mind. I am the witness of the mind. I am different from the mind. Thank you, Swamiji. I am not the mind, so I need not worry about the mind. Unfortunately, we have to worry about the mind because mind is the medium through which we gain all experiences. And therefore, if the mind is happy, I am happy. Mind is not happy, I am not happy right now. And therefore, it is important that my mind is happy. Even though I am not the mind, it is important that the mind, because it reflects the self. And through the medium of the mind, I experience myself. And therefore, if the mind is clear, transparent, pure, then I am happy. So even though I am not the mind, the disposition of mind is very important to me. The point is that even if we find some of these tendencies in ourselves, number one, I should not judge myself based on those tendencies. At the same time, I should have a commitment of removing these demoniac tendencies and substituting them with the divine tendencies. That is the task I have to perform. And so, Lord Krishna reduces all the negative tendencies into three. Kamam, kamaha, krodha, tatha, lobha. Lord Krishna says kama, which means craving, krodha, anger, lobha, greed. All of these can be called impulses. And when an impulse arises in the mind, usually I become controlled by the impulse. The impulses control me. When the impulse of craving arises in me, I am controlled, and it actually that craving forces me to do something, so the craving is satisfied. When anger arises, it forces me to do something, so the anger is satisfied. When greed arises, it forces me. Meaning that I am compelled by these negative impulses of kama, krodha and lobha. So as long as these impulses are in my mind, so long I am not free because they govern me. I am their slave. I should not remain a slave of my mind, I should become a master of my mind. Our Swami would say that it is good as long as the dog wags the tail. When the tail starts wagging the dog, that becomes a very miserable thing. So as long as I control my mind, it's all wonderful. When the mind starts controlling me, there is nothing but misery. And whenever any of these impulses arises in the mind, then I become helpless. I become controlled by them. So Lord Krishna says, Kama, Krodha, Lobha. The craving, in fact, they are not three, they are one only. What is kama right now, or a craving, when it is not satisfied, that very craving turns into krodha or anger. And when that craving is satisfied, then you need more, want more, that becomes lobha or greed. So basic is kama. But anyway, let us accept the three. Kama, krodha and lobha. These three are my inner enemies. Why is so? Lord Krishna says, Nasanam Atmanaha. These three in fact destroy me. Atma Nasanam. They are destroyers of the self, destroyer of myself. Meaning that the destroyer of the peace of my mind, the destroyer of my inner energy, the destroyer of my self-control and self-confidence, destroyer of my personality. They make me useless, and they make me useless and incapable of achieving anything. Let alone moksha, in fact, these things make me incapable of achieving material ends. A person who is angry or greedy, he cannot be even materially successful. Even for material success in life also, it is important that we overcome the compulsion of these three forces. Kama, krodha, lobha. Narakasya dwaram. They are nothing but the gateway of hell or all the suffering. Meaning that all the suffering, sadness, grief and all anxieties and stresses and ultimately sadness and depression, all of these are nothing but the source of is kama, krodha and lobha. So Gita gives us this is a basic psychology. Deal with this three and you will help with everybody. Tasmad etat trayam taje, Lord Krishna says, therefore one should always should be striving constantly. You should be alert and constantly striving to remove these enemies from my mind. So that is why alertness is required, that I should be alert and aware for the thoughts arising in my mind. Hey, this is kama. Hey, this is krodha. Hey, this is lobha. See, knowing theory is one thing, and recognizing that a given thought is called kama or craving is another thing. Oh, this is called anger, this is called greed, this is called raga, it's called dvesha. Sometimes we know things in theory but do not realize when they occur in my mind. Our Swami used to say, this person comes. Swami said, how are you? No problem, Swami. So that is the problem. We do not recognize things. We do not sometimes identify them, recognize them or accept them. So first of all, understanding what is kama, krodha and lobha, being aware as they arise in my mind, craving is arising. And once these thoughts gather a certain force, then we become helpless. So if we are alert and find that anger is arising, we should arrest that anger before it gathers a momentum and overpowers me. Each one of these has the capacity to overpower me once their intensity goes beyond a certain point. Even anger also, within certain limits, I can diffuse it. Craving arises, I am aware of it, I can diffuse it. Anger arises, I can diffuse it. Greed I can diffuse, provided I am aware, and they generally take a little time to build up. A person becomes angry, anger builds up. This fellow says something to me. He told me this. Again, he told me that thought builds up. Who is he to tell me? What does he mean by that? And slowly it builds up. And then the intensity rises. And then it becomes anger. And then I retaliate. So either kama, craving, krodha, anger, lobha, greed, understand that all of them are a result of a build-up of a given thought pattern. And therefore, being conscious about the thought flow in my mind and recognizing that this is now building up into kama is one thing that I like something. Dhyato vishan pumsa sangasteshu bhujayate. Lord Krishna says that when we dwell upon something, then slowly a fondness arises. Looks good. So they know the medicine avenue knows this psychology. That if you show them again and again slowly, dhyayata, when you keep on dwelling upon something, then a liking arises. So a car comes, again it comes, again it comes. The trick is to keep on projecting again and again and again and again. Like in Ramayana also, we are told this story as to how a golden deer came before Sita. Ravana must be extremely clever. He must have known this psychology. So this demon Ravana goes to his uncle Maricha and says, Uncle, you become a golden deer and present yourself before Rama and Sita. And then Rama will chase you and I will kidnap Sita. This was his plan. The Maricha said, I'm sorry, I cannot, I cannot cooperate with you, I cannot help you. So if you don't help me, then I'll kill you. Maricha knew that I'll be killed by Rama if I go there. Rama said, instead of being killed by this fellow, I better be killed by Rama. So he accepted. So this Maricha, the demon, came before. So Rama and Sita, both of them in the Paranakuti, and a golden deer appears. And Sita sees, he appears, disappears, comes and goes. Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa. Not one thought, the same thought keeps on repeating and repeating. Says, oh, there is golden deer. Golden deer, really, looks good. How nice if I have it. Then thought builds up. So says to Rama, I think, I like to have that golden deer. But what will you do? I'll have it as my pet here. Please bring him. If you kill, then I'll make some garments out of his golden skin, or I'll have it as pet. I'll take it to Ayodhya. Rama tried to reason with her, but no way. So sangasteshu vajasanga sanjayate kama. A liking slowly builds him into a desire. And if you do not stop there, desire builds into a craving. Once craving comes, it takes hold of me, controls me. And Sita says, I must have this deer. And she compels Rama, prevails upon Rama to chase that deer, to bring him, alive or dead. Rama leaves Lakshmana behind him, says, hey Lakshmana, you stay and protect your sister-in-law Sita, because this place is infested by all kinds of demons, and they will make sure that you are stationed here. Stations Lakshmana and goes. All of this was well planned. And ultimately Rama chases and takes them farther and farther away. Ultimately Rama takes out an arrow, puts it on his bow and shoots at Maricha, and that fellow dies. But before dying, he assumed the old form of a demon. And he screamed in the sound of Rama, hey Lakshmana, hey Sita. So from a distance, like Rama is calling. So Sita says, hey, your brother is calling you. He's in trouble. Lakshmana says, mother, don't worry. There is nobody in the universe which can create any trouble for my brother. Don't worry. So no, I hear. He's calling. Go, help him. Says, Ma, Lord Rama has told me to be here to protect you, because this is not a safe place at all. Then Kamat Krodho Vijayate, then Sita becomes angry. Because the desire is not being satisfied here, she gets angry. Krodha Dhodhi Sammoha. But anger also, if you don't check, and when that becomes intense, then overpowers you, sammoha, then your mind gets deluded, meaning that it loses its sense of discrimination. What is wrong appears right, what is right appears wrong, in that distorted frame of mind. Krodhat, bhati sammohat, smriti vibramaha. You lose the sense of what is right and what is wrong. Sammohat, smriti vibrat, buddhinasha. And you do the wrong thing. So Sita in fact scolds Lakshmana and says words which are most improper. Lakshmana is hurt, ultimately is compelled to go after Rama. And of course Ravana comes and kidnaps Sita. You can see how distraction, so kidnapping is called the distraction. Sita stands for our mind, and how Ravana stands for all those senses, because he has 10 heads, stands with 10 sense organs. They are all attracting this mind and kidnaps the mind. So kamaha, krodha, tatha lobha. These are all the source of all pain and suffering in life. They destroy the vitality of the mind. They destroy the vitality of the person also, and ultimately make him incapable of achieving any goal in life. Tasmat etat trayam tyajet. Here, Arjuna, these three are your enemies. And this was brought up earlier also. In fact, as early as the 3rd chapter, even the verses I quoted are in 2nd chapter. And still Arjuna asks in 3rd chapter, Oh Lord, what is it that compels this person to commit sin? Violate the values. What makes him violate the values? Everybody knows what is right. Everybody knows what is right in a situation. Everybody knows that I should be truthful, I should be honest, I should be non-violent. Everybody knows this. And still, why does the person become violent? Why does he tell lie? Why does the violent? The values because he's compelled by somebody inside. What is that? This kama, krodha, and lobha. When these three impulses arise, then they overpower me and make me violate the values, make me perform actions that are sinful actions, which result into pain and suffering for me. Tasmat etat triyam tahe. Therefore, Arjuna, give up this three. What happens if I give up the three? Next verse tells us. Etair vimuktah kaunteya tamodvaraistribhirnaraha acaratyatmanashreyah tato yati parangatim. Here Arjuna, etahi vimukta, freed from these three gates of darkness, gates of hell or suffering, then a man follows acharati atmanashreyah, then he follows what is good for himself, then the path for revolution opens up for him. The path for happiness and moksha open up for him. Meaning that these three are the very obstacles in our path of self-growth, happiness, freedom. Never give up these three. When these three are gone, then the path for your growth and happiness opens up for you to the extent that ultimately you can gain moksha. Tato yati param gatim. He attains the supreme goal. So all of us are capable of gaining supreme goal. All that is required is to remove these enemies. Kamaha, krodha, lobha. For this, just remember one letter C. We have told you this story in the past. I'll just summarize the story. That we remember one letter. In Sanskrit it is the. In English it is C. So we'll just C. Kamaha is passion or craving. So when craving comes, I lose control over myself. I indulge. The tendency to indulge is called kama. When I cannot control myself. Swami, ice cream is my weakness. Kulfi is my weakness. Movie is my weakness. When they say that, it means that I cannot control myself. It's a nice way of saying it is my weakness. So that gives me a license as though, it's my weakness, what can I do? Meaning that controls me, I do not control. You can say ice cream eats me, I don't eat ice cream. Because when I cannot control, one plate, second plate, third plate, for Swami, one more, all right. Because Swami, normally I don't say I want. But they are kind always enough to say, Swami, would you have another one? I said, no. Swami, okay. I oblige them. How about a third one? I think I make a show as though I'm obliging them. In fact, it's my craving that wants more and more. So when I'm not able to maintain, how to overcome kama? When this craving arises, how not to become controlled by that, by C, meaning control, by drawing boundaries. Thus far and no further. In every sense, every endeavor of entertainment, talking about food, which is my main source of entertainment anyway, so food. So when I first of all see what the menu is, so there is this, gotas are there, BGitas are there, this is there, and this sweet is there, and that is there. All of these are causing, watering my mouth. So I love all of them. So before starting, I must draw the boundaries. 2 of this, 1 of this, half of that, this of this is it. And whether my mind wants it or not, I maintain those. This is called damanam, C, control, self-control, boundaries. So everywhere in our life, in every kind of an endeavor, there must be boundaries. In what I talk, boundaries. TV, boundaries. Social media, boundaries. Any sort of entertainment, boundaries. If you don't draw boundaries, we get addicted soon before you. It's a slippery path. It is not, we keep on blaming the cell phones and things like that. It is not they who bind me, it is my mind actually, which is in need of all this time being entertained, always needs this gratification. If I don't draw the boundary, I slippery path. And soon before I realize, I become addicted to something. We are addicted to millions of things. But all of us don't call each other addicts because we have branded those fellows as addicts. So take hard drugs and stuff like that. But everybody who indulges in any kind of pleasures also there is an addiction there. Of one measure or the other. The overcoming addiction is called overcoming karma. I must have the freedom. Upanishad says, Tena Tyaktena Bhunjitaha. We enjoy things with tyaga, with detachment, meaning that without passion you enjoy something. Without addiction you enjoy something. Make sure that you do not get addicted, you do not get controlled, you always remain in control. Krodha is another C. Is what? Compassion. When I get angry at somebody because of whatever that person may have done, which may justify my anger. But if I know that anger hurts me more than anybody else, because anger is like fire and fire burns the very source where it is originated. If anger originates in me, it burns me before it can burn somebody else. Therefore, a value of becoming free from anger. But Swami, if you don't get angry, nothing gets done. Then let it not get done. But anger is a wrong tool to employ. And don't think that anger does anything. People in your face, they will do something. Behind you, they will do what they want to do anyway. No, this fellow is angry, therefore just take care of him. So they know what will make him angry. And so avoid those things. And then in that, behind his back, you can do what you want to do. If angry people become vulnerable, people manipulate. When you're angry, they manipulate. The clever people always manipulate you as to what to avoid or how to make him angry. So anger is an enemy. Lord Krishna says, Vidyerame Vairinam. This kama and krodha are enemy number one. Compassion. So there, remember, as anger is rising, this fellow is saying something and my mind is something happening inside. So when people behave, they say something, do something, and slowly excitement comes, anger rises. Then I tell, compassion, mercy, karuna. Because this compassion is just opposite, contrary to anger, pratipaksha bhavana. And that's how we deliberately raise the attitude, emotion of compassion in our mind to diffuse that anger. Lobha is greed. Charity. See, what is greed? Greed has two aspects, lobha. One is I am not satisfied with what I have. And second is I cannot part with what I have. Greed has these two aspects. I am not satisfied with what I have and I cannot part with what I have. So see, first is for contentment. Be content with what you have. And second, be charitable to part with you. So one letter C. For karma or craving, C. Control, boundaries, limits. I tell my mind. Krodha, anger. C. Compassion, kindness, forgiveness. Lobha, C. Contentment with what you have and charitable, generous with what you have in sharing with others. Parting or sharing with those who are needy. Etatrayam tajet, Lord Krishna says that one must give up these three. And then you open up the gates for your own well-being, for your own happiness, for your own freedom. And tato yati param gatim. One can attain even param gatim, moksha. The path of moksha also opens up. Meaning there is no spirituality as long as this stuff is there in the mind, So we keep on listening to stuff and then nothing happens. It will not happen as long as these fellows are within our mind, nothing will happen. All this listening all of these will be like pouring water on the rock, that's what it is. And therefore we have to deal with these things and have to make our mind clear of these things. And for that we must be constantly in contact with scriptures. We need to be reminded, we need to gain clarity. So in the last verse we are told, Tasmat Shastram Pramanante Karya Karya Vyavasthitau Jnatva Shastra Vidhanoktam Karma Kartumiharhase. Therefore, Shastra is the means of knowledge for you. Meaning here you now always expose yourself to the teaching. Because that gives you, number one, what is the goal in the life. Always keeps you clear about what the objective of the life or goal of the life is. So mind doesn't get distracted, doesn't get deviated, doesn't get derailed. It tells us what is the means, what's the goal, and what that's called GPS. The destination and the path leading to that. So that's why this GPS Gita positioning system in our life, we very much require Shastram, the Shastra, the study of the scriptures, listening to scriptures, exposure to the teaching, meaning that we need to be constantly reminded, we gain further clarity. For the hammering is required, because the mind may keep on hammering all the material stuff based on duality, and Shastra tells us what the reality is. Shastram, exposure to scriptures. Pramanam, that is the means of knowledge. Meaning you do what the Shastra tells you do, not what your mind tells you do. If it is different from what the Shastra or scripture says, follow the Shastra. But my mind says, no, I want to do this. No, don't do that. Shastra says, be non-violent. No, Swamiji deserves that. He has done this to me, I will retaliate. Non-violence. Shastram pramanam. The values and attitudes which are taught by the Gita and the scriptures, they become pramanam. They become the guidelines for living your life. Follow that. So 300 meters, make a right turn. Half a mile, make a left turn, etc., etc. So Shastra keeps on telling us, say this, do not do this. Karya vyavasthito. In determining what is karya means what is to be done, akarya what is not to be done. In determining that, the scriptures become the pramanam or means of knowledge. And therefore, jnatva shastra vidhanoktam karma kartam iharasi. Therefore, jnatva, you must know what the vidhanam or what the teaching of the scriptures is, and accordingly live your life. So here Lord Krishna also emphasizes it, learning. Swamiji, I will listen to, I will give us the studied Bhagavad Gita. All Upanishads. So when Bada Swamiji or Swami Chinmayananda, when somebody comes, Swamiji, I have gone through all the Upanishads. Have the Upanishads gone through you? Yes, and so they have to go through us. Until we keep on going through them, until they go through us. So, somebody came to this Bada Swamiji once and this Swamiji, your devotees were all sitting in the front row when you are giving talks, and they're all sitting and then all smiling, attending your lectures for years together and understanding everything and smiling, and then, they understand all you say. But the moment they leave that ground, come to the bus stop, and then you have to see their behavior. Why is that so? Why after attending to this and listening to you and understanding, how come they are like that? So typically, Bada Swami will tell a story. He is answered with a story. So this man is, one Sunday morning, he is reading his newspaper, and he tells his wife, may I have a cup of coffee? Wife obliges, otherwise she may not even listen to him normally. Today she obliged him. And the coffee is brought to him. there is a saucer in India and then a cup of coffee and there is a spoon and it's brought to him. He is absorbed in reading newspaper, he takes a sip. Tastes bitter. Come on, again! So what happened? Every time they have to tell you, this coffee is bitter, where is sugar? You not add a sugar into that. So wife listens to him for and let him scream for a while. So she can see this tamasha. After a while she says, do you see something? She says, what? Do you see there is a spoon there? She says, yeah. You know what is it meant for? Meant for stirring. Meaning sugar is added, you have to stir. So Swami says, I put sugar, I add into things. They have to stir the things. If they don't stir, and so Shastram Pramanante, constant exposure to the teaching, gaining clearer understanding, gaining more clarity. Mananam, what does it mean in my life? This teaching, what does it mean to me? How do I translate that in my life? Nididhyasanam, and putting that into practice. This is what we have to do, and that is how we benefit from this teaching, and we help ourselves. To help ourselves is up to us, to hurt ourselves also is up to us, and we have all the resources available. Shastra is there, teaching is there, teachers are there, all these materials are there. We should use them and help ourselves. So may God bless you all of you and continue your learning of Vedanta, Bhagavad Gita and the text, and may you be blessed. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari